If you can't tell, here at Basic Barista, we're really big fans of the Comandante brand. We've been stocking their coffee grinders since 2020 here in Australia, and with the release of the Comandante C60 Baracuda Grinder and all its different iterations and colours, we've been asked to do a video on brewing espresso using this coffee grinder, and that's what we're going to cover in today's video. Now, I just want to mention I have not done a workout. My arms are not normally this veiny. It's just because I've been grinding on this grinder, and we'll talk more about what's involved in that and set some more realistic expectations before you actually buy this grinder. Now, in front of me, I have 4 shots of espresso, and each of them are quite different. They've been pulled on the Stone espresso machine, which we have here. Every shot has a 19-gram dose. We've used the same water on all of the espresso, and we've tried to control all the variables. We've done the similar amount of WDT for each espresso shot. We've even got a self-calibrated coffee tamper, so we're tamping at the same pressure, and we're just trying to minimize as many different variables as possible so that we can actually taste these coffees for the grinder. Now, one thing I do want to mention about this, just based off the nature of this type of experiment, these have all cooled down. They've somewhat all reached a similar temperature, just room temperature I'm guessing at this stage, if not cool. And that's just because we have to set up and we don't have the resources to make 4 different shots of espresso at different grind sizes all at once. Now, before we get into tasting these coffees and seeing the difference on grind size, I want to talk more about the experience. If you don't know the C60, essentially think of it as a C40 wrapped in an entire body of stainless steel core. Bigger burrs. It's got the Big Joe upgrade, which is the crank that's larger with the larger knob at the end. It's also got the red Clix upgrade, what is called the gold Clix in the C60 universe. This sort of doubles the range of your grind sizes within the same grinder. A couple of things I want to mention. If you have used a C40 and you're looking to upgrade to the C60, or you've used a C40 and you're looking to move to the C40 with the red Clix upgrade, we've got a really useful resource on our website. We'll have that link below, but essentially it has the microns, the grind size, the brew method, and it has it for each of the C40, C60 and C40 with the red Clix variants, all itemized in a spreadsheet style, like a table, and then they're also like downloadable assets, so you can download them, save them to your phone just to quickly refer back. If you're a beginner, these resources are incredibly useful, so go check it out. So one click is actually quite small, it's around 21 microns. Going from the C40, which is 30 microns, it isn't exactly half like the red Clix upgrade, but it is a smaller range when you're going from 1 to 2 or 2 to 3, etc, etc. So when grinding espresso on this grinder, you're sitting around the 4 to 9, and you're pushing it, like you'll find here, you're even pushing it closer to the 15 clicks. So yeah, basically it's quite fine. When you're grinding fine, it's always going to be harder, especially on a hand grinder. When you're grinding any coffee on a hand grinder versus an electric grinder, you're almost always getting better value in the hand grinder. And that's because of a couple reasons. The first being the resources and certification involved in actually producing an electric coffee grinder. Those costs don't exist when you're making and producing a hand grinder. So instead of that, you can focus more towards on burr geometry and all these other sort of things. And in some cases, marketing. And all I'll say on this is that Comandante do have very strong branding, and I'd imagine they'd have a largish marketing budget, probably much bigger than ours. Back to grinding on the C60. When you're grinding on this coffee grinder, it is quite intense and quite an arm workout. So I want to quickly cover some tips and tricks about doing that. Number one, that doesn't require any other accessories, simply just hold this at an angle. When you do that, the beans slowly feed and you're getting a lot less coffee being ground at once, opposed to when you're like this and then you'll have the entire sort of area just covered in coffee and you're grinding and it's so much more difficult. So yeah, hold it at an angle as you're grinding. Number two, go fast. So I don't know how this really translates as far as like an RPM style thing, but what I do know is when you're grinding fast and you're really going at it, you tend to be shaking the body of the grinder a lot more, and those beans kind of flip upwards, which again means that there's less coffee being in contact with the burrs. Again, I don't know if that's like a good thing when it comes to coffee, like coffee extraction and all that, but I do know it makes grinding a lot easier and with less sort of stopping and starting. Now, comparing this to other grinders, when it comes to something like the Pietro grinder, that's probably the worst. With the Pietro, when you're going and you're grinding, it tends to stop and start. When you're grinding on the C60, there is a little bit of that, especially at those finer grind sizes. But if you do those tricks where you're on the side and you're going fast, you tend not to have as many stopping and starting. I also want to add, when you're grinding for pour-over grind sizes and coarser grind sizes, you don't tend to have that much of an issue with it. It's mainly just on those finer grind sizes. Next up, these fins here, they're actually CNC'd into the body of the grinder, and with that, it makes holding it a little bit easier than something like a full wood varnished grinder, like some of the C40s. But when you're holding it, it does become a little bit slippery. So if you've got the Comandante C60 or C40, I think they're the same, the silicone wristbands, they actually double as a grip. So while you'll see other people wearing them on your hands as an accessory, they're actually a perfect size for fitting onto the C60 body, just like the C40. The dimensions on the exterior are the same. And when you do that, it just adds another layer of grip onto the grinder, which is really important, especially if you're going at those finer grind sizes. I know the comments are going to go nuts if I don't address this, but this is a stainless steel catch cup from Cafe Sing. It's called the COD. It comes in a set with the stainless steel ball to match it. I don't necessarily love the stainless steel ball, so I just opt for the stainless steel catch jug. And the reason why I love this is because it's a great middle ground between the polymer and the glass. Yes, it's heavy. Yes, it's not suitable for travel because it's heavy. I think it adds something like an extra 300-400 grams to the grinder, which is already like a kilo, so it's nuts. But yeah, basically this is solid, and for something like at home use where I've got it here, I just want to be a little bit rougher with it. I don't necessarily want to worry about either the glass breaking or have issues with the static buildup or getting scratched up like some of the polymers. Instead, this is just another option. Cool stuff to see from Cafe Sing. Love to see more accessories. Now let's get into tasting these coffees. Before I do that, I'll just quickly tell you what these are. This first espresso is ground at 15 clicks with 45 out in about 10 seconds. She was fast. The second shot wasn't much better. It had a grind size of 12 clicks and 30 grams came out in about 10 seconds. Followed by our third espresso, which is 11 clicks with about 50 grams out in 22 seconds. I did a bad job at stopping the espresso machine, but we'll still try it. Might be good. And the last shot here, which in my opinion is the most perfect espresso shot, but I'm trying not to have an opinion before we taste these. It is 10 clicks, and it's about 40 grams out in 30 seconds. So this is quite standard. So yeah, I'm excited to try these. The coffee is a Finca Zaza from Tin Man. It's an espresso single origin, so it's going to be a lot lighter compared to other espresso roasts. And hopefully it tastes good. But yeah, let's try it. So starting off with the first one. This is actually really nice, which is surprising because it's so technically wrong. 10-second shot. But yeah, getting a lot of chocolate and sort of caramels coming through. Next up, let's try this one. God, the crema is just destroyed on all these. I've let these sit way too long, but we're going to try it anyways. Definitely more acidity towards the front. Still has that nice chocolatey velvet sort of texture, although it's quite intense. Let's try this one. Yeah, I don't love that. That's not fun. It's sour, it's astringent tasting. Yeah, it's not fun. It also leaves a really nasty aftertaste. And the last one. Okay, so it's funny, but out of these are the two that I like the most. This one tastes quite balanced. Acidity is nice, it's punchy, even though it's been sitting for, God, I don't even know, maybe like 10 minutes. All of these are ice cold, but they're still fine. I can still taste the coffee. It doesn't necessarily mean that the coffee's dead per se. It just means I can't experience them hot, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, this one's really nice balance to it. Sort of, it's got that chocolatey punch. Acidity is high, sweetness, it's good, it's nice. Even though, however, I still like this one too. Yeah, they both work. I don't know. Yeah, I found with the Comandantes, I get a lot of clarity when it comes to espresso. These, even though these are quite intense, these three are all holding their crema quite well, and this one has absolutely no crema. I'm just wondering, one thing that I haven't considered was we pulled these shots in this order. So with the stone, we're unable to see the temperature. I believe it's a 92 just fixed. But what I'm thinking, this was brewed cooler just because it was the first shot that came out, so the portafilter hadn't had a chance to heat up properly, and maybe that's why we're not seeing that crema form on top and it's tasting quite sweet and balanced. So yeah, it could be that that has had an impact on this. I'm sure there's other things that have had an impact on this, but so far it's tasting quite good. So for reference, I think this one is the winner. It would be amazing to see what these tasted like at different temperatures. I just limited with my machine. I'm unable to do that. But yeah, I think this one's the winner. Thank you so much for watching. If you've got any questions about the C60 Baracuda grinders, leave a comment down below. At the moment, we don't have the velvet steel. We only have the stone washed and the Nautilus blue grinders. Yeah, like I said, if you've got any questions about these grinders, brewing espresso, or if there's anything we missed and we didn't cover and you're just dying to know, leave a comment down below. If not, we'll see you in the next video.